Stunning new before and after images are showing the scope of the destruction in western North Carolina. And it's official. 1,000 Fort Liberty troops are loading up and heading west. The supplies they're bringing and the areas they're helping first. And addressing misinformation about the recovery. What Governor Cooper and FEMA officials said today about popular viral reports they say aren't true.
October is feeling like June. How toasty it will feel this weekend. And Futurecast shows who could see a stray shower.
In a matter of hours, we watched as part of North Carolina and Appalachia got wiped off the map. New aerial images just released, giving us this insight into the scope with shocking before and after shots. Right now, here at 5 o'clock, we are 1 week post Helene. This time last week, we were just in the early stages of understanding what devastation was to come. Tonight, we want to get you the very latest that we know, as this tragedy is going to take years of recovery. Within the last 30 minutes, some good news from officials in Buncombe County. Apparently, emergency water lines will be connected from Asheville to Black Mountain, meaning that people there should have some running water by tomorrow. Today, officials in Banner Elk encourage people there to evacuate. They say conditions are not going to improve for quite some time. And some signs of relief. Power to all 22 hospitals in the region have been restored.
All week, WRAL's crews have been deep in the mountains of western North Carolina, telling the stories of the people there. We have had crews in 35 communities since Friday when the storm hit, and so much is left to be done. WRAL's Eric Miller leads our coverage tonight from western North Carolina. This week, he, alongside photojournalist Brad Simmons, have traveled to some of the most remote areas in 6 different counties, including Buncombe County, and that's where we find him tonight, just outside of Black Mountain. Eric, 1 week out, how are people coping there? What is the difference you've seen over this past week?
Well, Deborah, we just heard that good news ourselves coming out of that press conference, but you look behind me here. This one of the distribution sites being run by Emerge Ministries just on the north side of town. You see the scale of that pile of water compared to the people who are over here working on it, volunteering. That gives you an idea of the amount of need they're anticipating in this area, because keep in mind there's the core of the town of Black Mountain, but we've got people scattered all the way up to the ridge tops here in this community. Another thing to keep in mind, when this storm happened last week, we had more than 50 water systems around the western part of the state go down as a result of this storm, including the city of Asheville's water system. Now, 1 out of 3 sources of water for that area have been restored, but much of Asheville and surrounding Buncombe County do remain without water and will remain without water for the foreseeable future. You get a sense of why that is in this video right here. The scale of work being done just outside Swannanoa and Black Mountain, where roads, pipes, and a water production facility were obliterated near the North Fork Reservoir. During a press conference today, Governor Cooper said the focus as these systems are rebuilt is on making them stronger to better handle the next flood.
The infrastructure of many of these communities was very old to start with, and this flood just decimated it. And I think the key is to build it back as quickly as possible, but also in a resilient way.
Now, the governor said there is still so much need here. The state, the federal government, local governments, private groups, all continuing to truck water in here. The state also helping distribute it on the ground and through the air, getting it to remote communities that are still cut off. One more important point the governor did want to make here is that FEMA assistance is available. They want people to apply for that. More than 50,000 have so far, getting a little bit of cash and a little bit of a helping hand out into these communities. In Black Mountain, Eric Miller, WRAL News.
This is Brian Schrader in the WRAL Live Center, and we have a sad update to a story that we brought you earlier this week. The fiance of a man who was rescued in Marion has been found dead. I want to show you this video. You remember the story of John Norwood, his friends call him Trey, and his fiancee Julie LaRoe. John was saved from the house in Marion during the flooding there using a pulley, that dramatic video that we showed you earlier this week. Julie was missing. This afternoon, the family posted on the GoFundMe that Julie has been found dead. Now, the family is raising money. John, or Trey, is staying with his sister Maggie in Apex. They're trying to raise money to help him, and they're also organizing a meal train on GoFundMe as they say he is adjusting to his life with his sister now in Apex.
Such a sad update there. Thank you, Brian. Our team coverage doesn't stop here. Look for reports from our crews all evening long and again this weekend. And if you'd like a closer look at where we've been so far, WRAL has this interactive map online showing our coverage from the communities we've been to. Just visit WRAL.com/hurricane-Helene.
For the past week, soldiers from Fort Liberty have been making final preparations to help bring some relief to storm victims in the mountains. This morning, they got the green light to go. They join now more than 6,000 National Guardsmen who have been in that area since day one. 24 Chinook helicopters from Fort Liberty are already flying relief missions from the Asheville airport. Soldiers from the 18th Airborne Corps are bringing some heavy equipment as well, and fuel and water to the area.
Right now, we're flowing them into the affected area. One of the primary missions where they're going to be able to add value is assisting the Department of Transportation in road clearance and access. So the initial unit coming in has engineering capability.
The Fort Liberty soldiers will set up their base of operations in the Hickory area, then span out to other locations as needed.
Governor Cooper and FEMA took time today to address the issue of misinformation surrounding the relief and recovery efforts post-Helene. The governor made the comments after assessing the damage and recovery efforts in Canton. He was joined by FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell, as well as state and town leaders. These pictures show the extent of the flooding in the Haywood County town. The governor and Criswell have heard rumors such as FEMA is running out of money, and they said misinformation only hampers relief efforts, and the victims are the ones who suffer.
This level of misinformation creates this scenario where they won't even come to us. They won't even register, and I need people to register so they can get what they're eligible for through our programs.
We all need to pull together here. I guarantee you this. It makes no difference who you are or where you live. If you need help, we're going to work around the clock to try to get you that help.
The governor says he is towards 7 or 8 counties so far, and he plans to visit every county affected by Hurricane Helene.
Tomorrow, Vice President Kamala Harris will travel to North Carolina to survey Helene's impact on our state. The vice president will also provide some updates on federal steps being taken to support the emergency response and recovery across the southeast. It's unclear yet which cities or towns Harris plans to visit. Firefighters from Raleigh's Urban Search and Rescue team are on the way to Western North Carolina to help with the recovery effort there. The group is comprised of 16 Raleigh firefighters, 5 firefighters from Durham, and 3 from Chapel Hill. They're taking PPE, food, and water that could last them up to 2 weeks. 2 people from Wake County EMS will replace a group that has been in the mountains since last Thursday. We do want to say a huge thank you to those of you in the Triangle who have showed up in so many ways.
To those of you who have donated to your local community supply drives, and to those of you who donated to the WRAL Cares Telethon, you helped raise more than $800,000, and that money is already helping. You still have time to donate. Just scan the QR code right there on your screen, or you can search HELP on WRAL.com.
That is such an impressive number, and it really, it's been a rough week, right? I think we can all agree on that. Thousands of people struggling. We did want to take a moment right now to pause and reflect on what we've seen. From our neighbors in Western North Carolina, WRAL is committed to telling your stories and to providing you crucial updates. There has been progress, but there are a lot of heartache and a lot of pain from so many people over this past week.
You saw that firsthand when you were in Nashville.
That's right. The breakdown of infrastructure, when people don't have the basic needs, including a way to communicate, it really makes you think about what it would be like to experience that and what those folks must be going through. And it's hard to fathom, really, even when you're right there, seeing it personally in front of you.
The lack of communication, the lack of water, the lack of just basic things that we all take for granted. And I think all of us are just still devastated from afar to know what they're going through.
And a lot of people feel guilty because, or feel helpless because they want to help those in need. And the best way you can do it is, you know, if you can volunteer or you send money or send supplies. Now, The mountains are my happy place. I built a house in southwestern Ashe County. I am so thoroughly blessed that my house was not damaged. Lots of trees down, but the place will never be the same.
Right.
It's just hard to watch the pictures.
It really
just
is.
get very emotional.
Yeah.
Well, they did see a little bit of rain up in the mountains today. Let's take a look at the radar view, and then we'll run through our weekend forecast, see what folks can expect around the state. Those showers have moved into the foothills, heading closer to Winston-Salem. We're going to watch some of our counties to the northwest for a possible shower this evening. Boone's at 75 tomorrow, morning fog in Asheville about 80. We expect 86 here, about a 20% chance for a shower. And then for the day tomorrow, the humidity will be high. We'll have a front go on by. Sunday looks like it'll be less humid. Partly cloudy skies, 82. The morning low around 60. Boone 73, Asheville about 80, and then down east toward the coast, temperatures will be in the 70s and 80s as well. Good news is the folks across the state, and especially out west, will experience some dry weather for 7, 10, maybe even more days than that. So they'll have some very fine weather to continue recovery efforts out west. And around here, cool weather's on the way. I'll outline that coming up in less than 15 minutes.
All right, thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Former President Donald Trump back in our state in North Carolina tonight as we take a live look in Fayetteville, where he will be hosting a town hall event. It's going to be held at the Crown Complex on Coliseum Drive. Former President Trump expected to speak there at 7 p.m.
By the way, the Dow hit a new record high today, thanks in part to a better than expected jobs report. The index finished up 341 points. The S&P gained 51, and the NASDAQ finished up more than 1%, up 219 points. When disasters strike in Appalachia, Dolly Parton is known to step in and help. After the break, how she is partnering with Walmart to offer millions of dollars in aid to help those impacted by Helene.
Also, no home football games for a town in western North Carolina that lives for it. Pisgah High School football stadium destroyed by Helene, but those we spoke to say they will rebuild. You'll hear their story next.
Plus, WRAL's Monica Casey is in Swannanoa today, where the damage has been extensive. At 5:30, she shows us the current situation and how people who live there are coping.
Dolly Parton has again stepped up to help her hometown community of Appalachia in East Tennessee in the wake of Hurricane Helene.
And I'm sure a lot of you wondering where I've been. Everybody's saying, where's Dolly? Well, I've been like everybody else, trying to absorb everything going on, trying to figure out all the best ways to do this. And I look around and I think, these are my mountains. These are my valleys. These are my rivers flowing like a stream. These are my people. These mountain-colored rainbows. These are my people, and this is my home. Doing with Walmart, and I know how.
Today, the American legend joined Walmart's CEO in the parking lot in Newport, East Tennessee. She said she'd be donating $1 million of her money to recovery efforts there. Her foundation will donate another $1 million. Walmart is donating $10 million.
She's pretty incredible. The power of social media is helping connect Asheville mothers with much-needed resources. A Charlotte mother started the Facebook group Hurricane Relief New and Expecting WNC Mamas after helping a woman from Asheville who was transferred at 40 weeks pregnant with no supplies. The group has already helped connect displaced mothers with things like food, shelter, transportation, and baby essentials. The group has also helped connect expectant mothers with doulas and midwives in the communities they evacuated to. Pisgah Memorial Stadium in Canton looked like this just a couple of weeks ago. Friday nights were full of football, so many people here having fun with their families. Then Hurricane Helene swept through, leaving the stadium destroyed.
The before and after pictures are just hard to look at for that community, just terrible. All of this barely a year after the stadium was rebuilt following Tropical Storm Fred. WRAL's Luke Notstein spoke with one of the Pisgah football players to learn how the team and the town is dealing with this devastation.
This was August 18th of 2023. The first Pisgah home football game in over 800 days. Memorial Stadium had been closed for more than 2 years because of damage from Tropical Storm Fred.
When we were juniors, we got to finally come back home and play, which was last year, and it was really good.
The crowd was ecstatic to watch their team in their town on their field.
We do a bridge walk, and I mean, they were lined all the way down the road, stacked on people. And it's really nice being back home.
Pisgah football was back, and so was the town of Canton.
Football is very important in this town and school. I mean, it's kind of the lifeline in town.
A lifeline that was rocked once again by Hurricane Helene. Floodwaters ravaged Memorial Stadium and destroyed so much.
It breaks my heart for our kids. Material things can always be replaced, so losing a stadium or a field is not the most important thing, but for our kids, for high school kids, you know, that's their livelihood.
A livelihood that has become the talk of the town every weekend in the fall.
I work down at the local store down there. I mean, I get at least 50 questions every Saturday when I work about how'd y'all do last night?
In many ways, the town of Canton lives for Friday nights in the fall. Now the people who live here are just trying to catch their breath.
In 21, you know, it was a very similar circumstance. You know, all the fields were a total loss. So we had hoped that we would have a little bit more time. The 100-year flood keeps happening.
The Black Bears of Pisgah don't win every game, but they always get back up. They always rebuild, and they're ready to do it again.
The Canton community is resilient. They're strong. And somehow we find a way to come back stronger each time.
The recovery will be slow, and it's certainly not going to be easy. But for the people of Canton, it's time to keep going.
Our spirits are down, and you know there's sorrow, but you know we'll come back.
One way or another, they always do. Luke Notestein, WRAL News, Canton.
That breaks my heart.
Yeah, what a big part of that community.
My dad was a high school football coach for 30 years.
Wow.
I know what this means to a community.
Yeah.
Sports is something that you rely on during tragedy to kind of give you something else to think about. But this is also what sets things up for great stories, big comebacks, great seasons, you know,
And
as they
have one.
rally around this all together. Meteorologist Mike Mays joining us now with a look at how the weather is looking, Mike.
Yeah, we're watching showers off to the west. Some of this may make its way into our western counties. I mentioned this last night. Perhaps Roxborough, maybe Hillsborough, Alamance, Caswell counties could see some of these showers. We're here through at least 7:30, and I'll be showing the radar throughout the evening. But this rain is out of the mountains right now. It's moving through the foothills. That's Wilkes County, getting closer to Winston-Salem, and again, maybe making its way toward us. Here is what's going on in the satellite view. We start off with an abundant amount of sunshine this morning, then the clouds filtered in, and a lot of this cloud cover is from tropical moisture that's in the Gulf of Mexico. It's thick upper level clouds, enough to call it mostly cloudy, and you can see it translated here on our North Hills cam. 79, the temperature right now at the airport, 65. The high so far has been about 82. 77 for Goldsboro, 79 in Clinton, 77 in Southern Pines. Great weather for high school football. I don't have any rain in the forecast, but I will continue to watch the northwestern counties for the possibility of a shower moving in. 79 at 6, by 8 o'clock, 73 by 10 o'clock. Expect about 71. Our morning lows 66. And by daybreak, we should see clearing sky. Excuse me, it should be mostly sunny at that point. And you can see the plume of moisture coming out of the Gulf, crossing the Gulf Coast, heading up into North Carolina. So this is tropical moisture from something that's trying to form in the Gulf of Mexico that has about a 40% chance of doing so. And there's our game-changing cold front that will bring the real fall feel into the area next week. We'll take a look at the numbers right now. Our normal high 77. We expect 86 tomorrow, 82 Sunday, 85 Monday. So over the next 3 days, the AC stays on, it stays warm, it stays humid. But Tuesday and Wednesday, temperatures fall. Full sunshine or mostly sunny skies. Dew points will be in the 40s both these days. It will feel magnificent, and those morning lows begin to cool down. Not really over the next 3 days. The normal low is 56. We should expect that on Tuesday. Wednesday morning 52 in the Triangle, but some of the rural locations could be looking at temperatures in the 40s. Futurecast shows dry weather in the morning tomorrow. We're going to watch the eastern counties for a few isolated showers to pop up during the afternoon and then head to the south and west. We're going about a 20% chance for a shower. Sunday looks dry, maybe Monday, an isolated shower with the next front coming through. That will bring that fall feel. So again, the next 3 days, it's warm, it's humid. The morning low Sunday is 60. The morning low Tuesday is 56. But look at all the cool mornings ahead. Break out the jackets, maybe a light sweater, upper 40s for lows Friday and Saturday. Those highs around 70 by next Friday. High school football next Friday will feel really cool.
That'll be great. At least our communities can come together and celebrate that. Thank you so much, Mike.
Welcome back. This is Aaron Thomas live on the campus of Duke University. It's certainly an electric Friday night. I want to talk about some of the efforts to help some of our neighbors in the western part of our state. Up Over here near the stadium, you have hurricane relief donation drop-off. We've seen our fair share of people dropping off stockpiles of water, different supplies for people in need. It's all thanks to the people that you see here on campus. They're currently waiting for the start of basketball season. Tonight is the countdown to craziness. We'll get the introduction of both the men and women's basketball team. We'll break it all down for you and get into some of the hype coming up at 5:30. Back to you.
All right, Aaron, thank you. Inspectors found a kitchen appliance being stored in the bathroom of a local restaurant.
5 on your sides, Keely Arthur has that in this week's restaurant ratings report.
First to Walk and Grill on South Miami Boulevard in Durham. A mixer and paper towels were being stored in a bathroom. Multiple containers of food didn't have protective coverings, and when the inspector found noodles that were past expiration and should have been thrown out, a restaurant employee put the noodles back in the cooler to be used later. Walk and Grill in Durham got an 85.5. They previously got a 97.5 and an 87. Next to Jordan Mini Mart, just off of US 1 in Moncure, there was a block of moldy pepper jack cheese in a cooler. Chicken wings and hot dogs weren't being kept hot enough, and there were excessive flies throughout the building and kitchen. Jordan Mini Mart got an 84.5, a B. That's down from a 93.5 and a 95. And finally, to the Pine Needles Lodge and Golf Club dining room on Midland Road in Southern Pines. There were multiple dead roaches found. Several food items were being kept past their expiration date, and the ice machine and drink nozzles were visibly soiled with black growth. The Pine Needles dining room got an 87, a B. Their last score was a 95. Keely Arthur, 5 on your side.
Walk and Grill, the place with the noodles, was actually re-inspected twice this week. The first time they got an 88.5, which is another B. The most recent inspection, they received a 97, which is an A.
Third time's a charm,
yeah.
I guess. Ashley Rowe is here now with what's coming up at 5:30. Ashley.
Dan, volunteer pilots are helping get food, formula, medicine, and other critical supplies into remote parts of the mountains. At 5:30, 5 on your side's Keely Arthur shows us the incredible difference these volunteers are making. Also, no power, no running water, no cell service. We visit one of the hardest hit areas by Helene.